In a world constantly stretched between two extremes, too much and too little, too fast and too slow, too attached and too resigned, modern people seem increasingly to lose the ability to live in balance. We chase success to the point of exhaustion, only to fall into emptiness when we attain what we desire. We yearn for freedom yet find ourselves bound by ambition, fear, and endless comparison. Amid this vortex, the most important question is no longer how to have more, but how to live rightly, sufficiently and peacefully. This is precisely when the middle way becomes more necessary than ever. The middle way is not a weak compromise between two extremes, nor is it a vague, indecisive way of life. On the contrary, it is the path of profound wisdom, where one learns to look directly at the nature of suffering, desire, and impermanence, without being swept away by any extreme. The Buddha pointed to the middle way as the path beyond suffering, for extremism, whether indulgence or self-mortification, leads inevitably to imbalance and unrest. Today, as people confront pressure to succeed, information overload, and constant anxiety about the future, that message resounds with even greater clarity and urgency. We live in an age that glorifies too much, working beyond our limits to prove our worth, loving possessively to fill the fear of abandonment, pursuing happiness as a goal to be achieved at any cost. Yet the more we try to grasp, the more exhausted we become. The more we chase extremes, the further we drift from true peace. The middle way arises not to deny life, but to help us live more fully, without being carried away by desire, and without denying our genuine human needs. Living without extremes is learning to listen to oneself. It is the ability to recognize when we are pushing too hard, and when we are giving up out of fear. The middle way teaches us to stand firmly at the point of balance, where action arises from mindfulness, not blind reaction. At that point of balance, we no longer need to prove anything, nor do we need to escape anything. We live, simply and deeply, with full presence in each moment. The miracle of the middle way lies in this: it is not separate from everyday life. You do not need to leave your family, your work, or society to walk this path. The middle way is present in how you eat a meal, speak a word, make a decision, or face a difficult emotion. It is the art of knowing when to stop, when to move forward, and when to remain silent because words no longer bring understanding. Within this balance, the mind gradually settles, and wisdom begins to reveal itself. At a deeper level, the middle way is a gateway to inner freedom. When we are no longer pulled by opposing poles, gain and loss, praise and blame, success and failure, we begin to touch a quiet inner space. There, happiness no longer depends on external circumstances, but arises from clear understanding of oneself. This is not a loud happiness, but a stable sense of peace, not easily shaken. In this video, we will explore the spirit of the middle way, not as a distant philosophical concept, but as a practical way of living in daily life. You will see why living without extremes does not make life dull; on the contrary, it allows each moment to become clearer and more meaningful. When we understand and practice the middle way, we are no longer torn between must be this way or must not be that way, but learn to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. If you are feeling exhausted by opposing pressures, if you long for a way of life that is both deep and gentle, then the journey of the middle way may be the invitation meant for you. It promises no instant miracles, but opens a sustainable path, the path of mindfulness, balance, and inner freedom. And from this starting point, we will walk more slowly together, to see more clearly, understand more deeply, and live a life not swept away by the endless extremes of the world. As we step more deeply into the spirit of the middle way, the first thing we need to look at directly is our own lives. Not with judgment or self-blame, but with a clear and honest gaze. For most human suffering does not come from circumstances themselves, but from how we react to those circumstances. We are often pulled back and forth between two extremes, either indulging in desire, or harshly forcing ourselves into idealized molds. Both paths, though outwardly very different, lead to fatigue and inner unrest. In modern life, extremism often takes on a very subtle form. It is no longer crude indulgence or severe asceticism as in ancient times, but hides behind labels such as self-improvement, success, and perfection. We work relentlessly to become better, more capable, more valuable, yet deep inside we constantly feel that we are not enough. When we reach one goal, we do not pause to experience a sense of wholeness, but immediately turn toward the next. The middle way does not deny effort, but raises a crucial question: does that effort arise from wisdom, or from a sense of inner lack? To live according to the middle way is to learn to recognize the motivation behind each action. When we observe deeply, we see that many of our decisions are not truly free, but are driven by fear, fear of failure, fear of being left behind, fear of not being acknowledged. That very fear pushes us toward extremes, either overexerting ourselves to control everything, or giving up because we believe there is no other choice. The middle way invites us to pause at the middle point, where we act not out of fear, but out of a clear understanding of what is needed in this very moment. Another important aspect of the middle way is how we face our emotions. Many people believe that living mindfully means always being positive, always calm. But that, too, is another subtle form of extremism. The middle way does not require us to eliminate sadness, anger, or disappointment. It simply teaches us not to identify ourselves with those emotions. When joy arises, we know it as joy and do not cling to it. When sorrow appears, we recognize that it, too, is only a state arising and eventually passing away. In that balance, emotions are allowed to exist, but they no longer dominate our minds. The middle way also reveals itself clearly in how we view success and failure. If success makes us arrogant and failure causes us to collapse, then both are controlling our inner lives. Living without extremes means understanding that success is not a measure of human worth, and failure is not a final verdict. They are simply necessary experiences on the path of growth. With this understanding, we work with dedication, but do not trade away inner peace in pursuit of results. At a deeper level, the middle way is the balance between control and letting go. Many people misunderstand letting go as indifference or neglect. But letting go in the spirit of the middle way means letting go of attachment, not responsibility. We still act, still care, still make effort, but we no longer try to force life to follow our will. We do our best in the present, then allow outcomes to take shape according to their natural conditions. This absence of coercion brings about a very unusual strength, the strength of equanimity. In relationships, the middle way helps us escape two familiar extremes, possessiveness and indifference. When we love with attachment, we unknowingly turn love into a burden. When we fear being hurt and close our hearts, we lose connection. The middle way teaches us to love with mindfulness, to care without controlling, to be close without losing ourselves. In that balance, relationships become lighter, more genuine, and more enduring. Practicing the middle way is not something that happens overnight. It is a continuous process of observation, in which we learn from our own moments of imbalance. Each time we recognize that we have gone too far to one side, we gently return to the middle point. No self-reproach, no pride, simply seeing clearly and adjusting. It is precisely this patience that makes the middle way a way of life, rather than just a beautiful idea. As we gradually live in the spirit of the middle way, we begin to notice a change that is subtle yet profound. Life is no longer an endless series of struggles, but becomes a flowing current with its own rhythm. We know when to move forward and when to pause. We are no longer swept away by the extremes of society, nor do we withdraw from life. We are fully present, grounded, and freer in each unfolding moment. And from this foundation of balance, wisdom begins to arise, not book knowledge, but direct understanding of ourselves and of life. An understanding deep enough that we are no longer deceived by extreme promises, and steady enough for us to walk our own path with inner peace. The middle way, ultimately, is not about walking between two extremes, it is about transcending them both, to live a life that is mindful, simple, and deeply meaningful, when the middle way is no longer merely a concept to contemplate, but becomes a lived experience. We begin to notice very quiet yet profound transformations in each ordinary moment of daily life. This change is not loud, nor does it appear as a dramatic turning point, it is more like an underground stream that gradually softens the rigid edges of the mind. We no longer react hastily to external changes, nor do we rush to judge ourselves when things do not unfold as expected. Instead, a natural pause appears, a pause of mindfulness. Within this pause, we begin to see an important truth clearly: much of the tension in life comes from our constant desire for things to be different. We want the present to be better, ourselves to be more perfect, our circumstances to be more favorable. This relentless urge to correct reality pushes us into extremes, either excessive effort to change everything, or discouragement and resignation when we cannot control outcomes. The middle way invites us to learn how to accept without resignation, to change without resistance. This balance does not make us passive, rather, it allows our actions to become clearer and more gentle. Gradually, we also begin to see ourselves differently. Instead of dividing ourselves into good and bad, right and wrong, we learn to view every aspect of who we are with compassion. The middle way does not require us to eliminate our unfinished parts, it helps us understand that imperfection itself is the raw material for growth. When we no longer force ourselves to become some idealized version, we feel more at ease. And within that ease, a new kind of authenticity begins to arise. At a deeper level, the middle way transforms how we face impermanence. Rather than clinging tightly to what we have or panicking in the face of change, we begin to live in harmony with the natural flow of life. When joy arrives, we cherish it. When joy departs, we do not despair. When difficulties arise, we neither deny nor exaggerate them. We see everything coming and going, like the in-breath and the out-breath. This way of seeing softens the mind, freeing it from rigidity in the face of inevitable change. As the mind softens, compassion gradually opens, not only toward others, but toward ourselves. We become less harsh, less self-blaming, less comparative. We understand that each person is walking their own path, shaped by different conditions and limitations. The middle way helps us stop imposing our standards on others, and also stop imposing harsh ideals upon ourselves. Within this space, empathy arises naturally, without effort. The middle way also gradually transforms our relationship with time. We no longer live in constant haste, nor do we sink into stagnation. We begin to sense the natural rhythm of life: times to act, times to rest, times to speak, times to remain silent. Living in accord with this rhythm, we no longer feel that we are always falling behind life. Instead, we begin to walk alongside it, with trust and inner ease. From this sense of companionship, a very subtle feeling of freedom emerges. It is not the freedom to do whatever one wants, but the freedom of not being dragged along by inner extremes. We still face pressure, loss, and uncertainty, but we are no longer swept away by them. We stand firmly at the middle point, where every experience is clearly seen, yet no single experience can define our entire being. As we move closer to the end of this journey, we may realize that the middle way does not promise a life without suffering. It simply offers a way of living so that we are not submerged by suffering. This path does not exclude challenges, but helps us move through them with greater clarity and composure. And perhaps the greatest value of the middle way lies here. It brings us back to ourselves, a person no longer divided by extremes, no longer living in inner conflict, but gradually discovering a deep harmony between body, mind, and life. From this point of return, the ending is no longer a conclusion, but an opening. An opening into a new way of living, where each step is illuminated by mindfulness, and each choice is supported by balance. And from this very foundation, we will step into the final part of the journey, reflecting on the deeper meaning of living without extremes, and how the middle way can become a guiding light for an entire lifetime. As this journey gradually comes to a close, perhaps what remains is not a philosophy to be memorized, but a very subtle feeling about how we are living. The middle way, after all, is not a path that exists somewhere outside for us to search for. It is present in each small choice we make every day, in how we face pressure, in the attitude we hold toward ourselves, and in how we move through the constant changes of life. Living without extremes does not make life dull or lacking in purpose. On the contrary, it restores clarity. When we are no longer dragged between opposing poles, craving and rejection, stubbornness and resignation, we begin to see what truly matters. We work with dedication, but do not trade away inner peace. We love deeply, but do not lose ourselves. We move forward, but do not forget the present moment. Within that balance, life gains depth, rhythm, and a far greater sense of meaning. The middle way also teaches us something very gentle yet powerful: we do not need to become someone else in order to be worthy of happiness. When we stop forcing ourselves to be perfect, stop chasing harsh standards, we begin to touch a space of ease that has always existed within us. There, we do not need to prove anything, compare ourselves, or defeat anyone. We simply need to understand ourselves, accept ourselves, and live fully with what is. This path may not be attractive in a loud or dramatic way. It does not promise instant success or permanent happiness. Yet precisely for that reason, the middle way is sustainable. It does not lift us high only to cast us down again, but leads us back to a point of balance, where we can stand firmly even as life changes. In a world filled with uncertainty, that steadiness is the most precious gift. If you are hearing these words while your heart is still unsettled, remember that the middle way does not require immediate change. All that is needed is awareness. Awareness of when you are trying too hard. Awareness of when you are avoiding. And in that very moment of awareness, a new choice is always present, the choice to return to the middle point, with mindfulness and compassion for yourself. The journey of living without extremes has no fixed destination. It is a process of returning, again and again, a little each day. Yet within that process, we gradually discover a profound truth: peace is not something to be achieved in the future, but something that can be touched right in this moment. When we live with moderation, sufficiency, and without being swept away by the extremes of the mind. If today's reflections resonate with you, if you see a part of yourself somewhere in this journey of the middle way, please share your thoughts in the comments. Each reflection, each experience you leave behind is not only your own voice, but may also become a source of understanding and support for others walking the same path toward inner balance. And if you wish to continue accompanying us on journeys like this, where we reflect together on life, mindfulness, and inner freedom, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Not to chase numbers, but so that we may meet again, slowly and steadily, on the path of returning to ourselves. Thank you for taking the time to listen until the end. May from this moment on, wherever you are, the middle way no longer be just an idea, but become a gentle light that guides your way, helping you live with steadiness in the world, without leaning toward extremes, and without losing the inner peace that has always been within you.